Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. Even adult children who are estranged will sometimes get into text exchanges with their parents. Especially if your child is young, he or she may need to engage in logistical conversations with you about things like a phone bill, car insurance, or college tuition. Which is to say that not every estranged adult child is completely radio silent 100% of the time. If you sometimes text with your estranged child, you'll want to know what to do if your text exchange suddenly goes off the rails. First of all, how will you know if this happens? The most obvious clue is a negative response from your child. A complaint or the sudden use of foul language is an indicator that something has gone wrong between you. You might also suddenly get no response. You may have been texting happily back and forth, and suddenly, it's crickets. Nothing. Your child just disappears from the conversation. In either case, here are some steps you can take. Step 1. Look back at your last text and try to figure out if something set your child off. For example, one mom I worked with mentioned during a flurry of happy texting with her son that she'd given him money for rent and had to watch her own spending. The son immediately stopped texting in response. Thinking about it later, this mom realized her son felt very self-conscious about accepting financial help from her and probably felt shamed by her comment. Sure enough, when she finally heard from him many weeks later, he assured her he was doing everything he could to become financially independent. If you look at the last text you sent before getting a negative response or no response, you can often figure out what the problem might be, just like this mother did. Be as honest with yourself as you possibly can. What were you trying to accomplish with that last text? How were you feeling when you sent it? Did you have a hidden agenda? The mom in this case admitted to herself that in mentioning money, she was trying to get her son to be a little bit more frugal. He'd been talking about traveling to attend a rather expensive event with her just for fun, and she wanted to give him a gentle hint to watch his spending. So that's the first step, is to go back and look at your last text from your child's point of view. Step 2, give it sufficient time. If you can't figure out why on earth your child would be upset with you based on your last text, it may be just that life got in the way. She'll answer later when she has more time. Or texts do get lost. She might not have received your last one. So make sure you give your child at least 24 hours before assuming that anything's wrong. What happens if what you get back is not silence, but an angry or rude message from your child? In either case, do not send another text. Instead, proceed to number 3. Stop texting and start calling. If you were texting with your child, that means you have his phone number. So if things took a wrong turn over text, it's time to use your voice instead of your thumbs. It's really hard to solve a problem in writing when it happened through writing in the first place. When you're ready to leave a voice message for your child, go to number 4, apologize. Remember that apologies are just relationship repair tools, so use them liberally. If your child responded to your last text in an angry way, you might say something like, "I'm calling because I got your text and I wasn't sure how to respond. I'm very sorry if I offended you. I love you. Please let me know if you want to talk about it." If your child went radio silent, then it might make sense to apologize for your last text message. But before you do that, check with your child in a voicemail to make sure the silence is meaningful. "Hey, I'm calling to check in with you because I didn't get a response to my last text. Maybe you just got busy or the text got lost, but I hope we're okay. If that doesn't net a response, you can be more certain that it was your last text that left a bad taste with your child. In that case, wait at least 24 hours after your first voicemail, and then you can leave a second and final one, something like this. I'm just calling to apologize about that last text I sent you. Looking back at it, I regret bringing money into our conversation. I know you didn't need my opinion on that. I hope you can forgive me. If you're still interested in taking that trip together, give me a shout when you have some time. Keep your voicemail as brief as you can, then proceed to the next step. Step 5. Wait. Once you've apologized for your last text, you've done what you can to make a repair. Don't go overboard. It's now your child's turn to contact you. It might take her a while because A, she has other priorities, and B, she might not know how to respond or what she wants to say. If your family is one in which people tend to let some time pass instead of talking things through right when they happen, then of course that's what your child will do. If this is the family tradition to let time pass in order to smooth things over, then you can safely let the time pass yourself. When your child is ready, she'll contact you again. I know you'll miss her in the meantime, but rest assured that in following these steps, you've handled the texting snafu responsibly. Give yourself the credit you're due and trust your child to eventually do the same. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.